This is counterfeit and it smells like marijuana.
Are you
searching your bag?
I do not consent to any searches of my personal property.
Turn around.
A single $100 bill. That's all it took to turn an ordinary day into a nightmare. But here's the question no one asked at the time. How does a simple purchase end with a man in handcuffs? It's a warm afternoon, nothing unusual. Cars passing, people walking in and out of a small neighborhood convenience store. And standing at the counter is 29-year-old Marcus Reed, calm, focused, just trying to pay for a few groceries after a long day. He pulls out a $100 bill. That's it. The cashier hesitates. Her smile fades. She turns the bill over once, twice, then suddenly her entire demeanor changes. Suspicion creeps in. Without saying much, she walks away, clutching the bill tightly. Now pause for a second. If you were Marcus, what would you think in that moment? Confusion? Maybe, but definitely not what comes next, because within seconds, the calm atmosphere shatters. The cashier storms outside, pointing directly at Marcus. Her voice is loud enough to pull attention from across the street. People stop, heads turn, and then sirens, loud, fast, closing in. Marcus steps outside, clearly confused, receipt still in hand. Is there a problem? He asks, but no one answers him directly. Instead, all eyes shift to the police cruiser pulling up to the curb. Officer Daniel Hargrove steps out, and from the very first second, something feels off. There's no calm approach, no attempt to understand. His tone is sharp, almost accusatory before Marcus even says a word. "Where did you get that bill?" he demands. Marcus blinks, caught off guard. "From my bank," he replies, trying to stay composed. But the officer doesn't slow down. The tension spikes instantly. Within moments, Marcus is surrounded, pressured, questioned like a criminal in front of strangers who just seconds ago didn't even know his name. And then it happens. Without warning, without real verification, Marcus is forced to the ground, hard. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Someone pulls out a phone. Another voice whispers, "This doesn't feel right." And Marcus? He keeps asking the same question. What did I do wrong? But no one answers him. And here's the part that should make you stop and think. This wasn't just about a $100 bill. This was the beginning of something much bigger. Something that would expose decisions, biases, and a chain of actions so costly it would later force the city to pay $2.4 million. But at this exact moment, lying on the pavement in handcuffs, Marcus had no idea what was about to unfold. And neither did the officer who made that call, because the next decision is where everything truly spirals. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. The moment Marcus hits the pavement, everything shifts. What started as confusion turns into something heavier, something harder to ignore. "Stop resisting!" Officer Hargrove shouts. But here's the thing. Marcus isn't resisting. He's barely even moving. Take a second and picture it. A man pinned to the ground, one arm twisted behind his back, groceries spilled across the sidewalk, and yet the narrative being shouted is completely different from what people are seeing with their own eyes. Does that sound right to you? Marcus's voice is strained but controlled. "I'm not resisting," he says, trying to keep his breathing steady. "I just paid for my stuff. That's all I did." But Officer Hargrove isn't listening. In fact, he seems more focused on a certain control than figuring out the truth. And that's where the first crack appears. Because inside the store, the only evidence against Marcus is a feeling. The cashier, Jenna Collins, claims the bill didn't look right. No counterfeit pen, no scanner, no verification process, just instinct. And somehow, that's enough to escalate this into a full arrest. Now ask yourself this, would that happen to everyone? Out on the sidewalk, the tension thickens. A small crowd gathers, phones raised, recording every second. One man mutters under his breath, "This is going too far." Another shakes his head, clearly uncomfortable. Marcus tries again. He explains that he withdrew the money from an ATM less than an hour ago. He even offers to show his bank transaction on his phone. Should help, right? But instead of checking, Hargrove dismisses it completely. "No more talking," he snaps. That's the second crack, because now it's not about the bill anymore. It's about control. Marcus is searched, his wallet emptied, his belongings scattered across the pavement like evidence in a crime scene. But nothing suspicious turns up. No fake bills, no illegal items, nothing. And yet, the handcuffs stay on. Why?
That question hangs in the air as Marcus is pulled to his feet and walked toward the patrol car. His face shows it now, not just confusion, but fear. Real fear. Because at this point, he realizes something chilling. This situation isn't being handled fairly. As the car door slams shut behind him, the crowd's murmurs grow louder. Phones are still recording, capturing every detail. And those videos? They're about to become a problem. But Marcus doesn't know that yet. All he knows is that he's being taken to the station for something he didn't do. And once he gets there, the truth about that $100 bill is finally tested. A few hours in a holding cell can feel like a lifetime. But for Marcus, it felt like something worse. Silence. No answers, no updates, just the cold reality of metal bars and a decision he still couldn't understand. Let me ask you something. If you knew you did nothing wrong, how long would you stay calm? At first, Marcus tries to stay composed. He replays everything in his head. The store, the cashier, the officer. The moment it all flipped. None of it makes sense. Meanwhile, outside those walls, things are already spiraling. Because those bystander videos, they didn't just stay on people's phones, they spread. Fast. Clips of Marcus being forced to the ground, clearly not resisting, begin circulating online. People start asking questions, loud ones. Why was he treated like that? Where's the evidence? Why wasn't the situation handled differently? And the most uncomfortable question of all, would this have happened to someone else? Back at the station, Officer Hargrove is finishing his report. But here's where things take a sharp turn. In his version of events, Marcus is described as uncooperative, evasive, even suspicious. But that's not what the footage shows. Not even close. Now there's a contradiction, and contradictions are dangerous because they force people to look closer. Eventually, the bill is sent for proper testing, the kind of test that should have been done from the beginning, the kind that actually determines the truth. Time passes, and then the result comes back. The $100 bill is real, completely legitimate, no signs of counterfeiting, no reason, none to justify what just happened. So let's pause again. If the bill is real, then what exactly is Marcus doing in a jail cell? At that moment, everything should have stopped. Doors opened, apologies made, end of story. But that's not what happens. Instead, there's hesitation. Officers start talking in low voices, glances are exchanged, paperwork slows down instead of speeding up. It's subtle, but it's there. Because now this isn't just a mistake anymore. It's something bigger. If Marcus is released immediately, it raises questions. Serious ones, about why he was arrested in the first place. And those questions? They don't just affect one officer, they affect the entire department. So instead of fixing the problem quickly, a decision is made. A quiet one. Marcus stays in custody. And that single decision? It's about to push everything past the point of control. Marcus should have been free. The test proved it. The $100 bill was real. Every piece of evidence confirmed it. But freedom didn't come. Not yet. Minihook. Sometimes the system punishes you even when it knows the truth. Marcus spent the night in a holding cell. Cold. Alone. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, a constant reminder that this isn't just about a bill. It's about power, control, and a refusal to admit a mistake. He lies on the hard bench staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every gesture. The weight of humiliation presses on him like a physical thing. By morning, the story has exploded beyond the station. Videos of Marcus being forcibly arrested are everywhere. Social media is alight with outrage. News outlets pick it up, replaying the footage over and over. Hashtags trend, questions mount, people demand accountability. And in the center of it all is Marcus, still cuffed, still waiting for someone to do the right thing. When he finally meets attorney Lisa Grant, 38, the first thing she says is blunt. They crossed a line. They can't just erase this. Lisa studies the video, the reports, the timeline. Every detail points to the same conclusion. Marcus was arrested without cause, treated unfairly, and humiliated publicly. The decision to keep him in custody after the bill was verified is what turns this from a mistake into misconduct. Mini-hook, but it gets worse. Internal investigations begin. Officer Hargrove's record is pulled. Complaints for biased behavior, aggressive arrests, and failure to follow protocol appear. Nothing significant was done in the past, until now. Every delay, every excuse, every dismissive comment is under scrutiny. Meanwhile, Marcus reconnects with friends and family who had watched the viral footage. Supportive voices, yes, but also confusion, fear, and anger. They ask how something so ridiculous could happen. Marcus knows the answer, but it doesn't make it easier to swallow. The tipping point comes when Hargrove is confronted about the legitimacy of the bill. His explanations contradict the facts. His timeline doesn't match the recordings. His decisions, already questionable, now appear reckless and biased. Mini cliffhanger. And as the city's legal department reviews the growing evidence and public backlash, one question looms over everyone involved. How much is this mistake going to cost? And will anyone actually be held accountable? The truth finally comes into focus. Logical payoff. After weeks of investigation, it's clear what happened. Marcus Reed, 29, did nothing wrong. The $100 bill was authentic, verified multiple times. Officer Daniel Hargrove, 42, acted recklessly, relying on a cashier's unverified suspicion instead of following basic protocol. The arrest, the handcuffs, the hours in a holding cell, none of it was justified. Internal reviews reveal Hargrove had prior complaints for biased behavior, aggressive arrests, and failure to follow protocol. Nothing significant was done in the past, until now. The city faces undeniable liability. Emotional payoff. In court, Marcus finally speaks. His voice trembles as he recounts the fear, the humiliation, and the helplessness he felt. "I was treated like a criminal for nothing," he says. "Every minute I was in that cell, I felt invisible. But I wasn't invisible. I was just ignored." The courtroom is silent. You can feel the weight of those words. The emotional release is palpable, not just for Marcus, but for everyone who watched, who empathized, who saw injustice unfold in real time. Consequence payoff. The city settles Marcus's lawsuit for $2.4 million, sending a clear message: misconduct has consequences. Officer Hargrove is terminated, stripped of authority, and subject to further disciplinary review. Policies are overhauled. Verification procedures are now mandatory before arrests for alleged counterfeit money. Beyond the financial and professional ramifications, the public's trust in local law enforcement is shaken, forcing a broader conversation about accountability and bias in policing. Friends, family, and even bystanders who recorded the incident feel a measure of justice, knowing their actions helped expose wrongdoing. Final resolution moment. Standing outside the courthouse, Marcus looks directly into the cameras. No anger left, just clarity. "This shouldn't have happened," he says, voice steady now. But it did. And now people are finally paying attention. That matters. He walks away from the courthouse, a man scarred by injustice, yes, but empowered by vindication. His life is changed. He's no longer a passive victim of circumstance. His courage and persistence forced accountability, and the story closes with a sense of closure, justice, and awareness. All of it started with a single $100 bill, a moment that could have been dismissed, but wasn't. And because of that, a city learned the cost of negligence, a man regained his dignity, and the consequences of misconduct became impossible to ignore.